So hello everyone and welcome to the CryptoBanker SHX Roundtable Episode 2. Thank you all for joining on today's X Spaces. Before we begin today's roundtable, just some quick background to this. So as the SHX community of strongholders grows at quite a rapid pace, I felt we needed a monthly roundtable with industry leading influencers and experts that really focuses on all things Stronghold and SHX. So while at the same time providing insights and analysis of the wider crypto market to the Strongholders community. So personally, I do feel that 2024 into 2025 is going to be the year for crypto and SHX adoption. So really pleased that we all could find the time to speak today and continue this series of monthly SHX focus roundtables. So the roundtable, it is a monthly event. It's on the first Saturday of every month. So for everyone listening, please do, if you haven't already, mark your calendars. It's always hosted by myself and CryptoCanvas. And we do have now another permanent fixture to the round table in the form of G-DLT, and we'll always be joined by monthly special guests who are all crypto legends in their own right. So very pleased to say that we do have some absolute legends on today's round table. Just a disclaimer before we begin, we are not finance advisors, so nothing discussed on today's CryptoBanker SHX roundtable should be taken as financial advice. Also, just a quick request, if you are listening live on X, please do share and repost this X Spaces. And so without further ado, I'll just go on and introduce everyone on today's roundtable. Firstly, we have my co-host. This person has been breaking gems on YouTube recently, and in some cases before anyone else. He is really an SHX OG and the emerging leader, it seems, of Block V. I'm talking about the man like CryptoCanvas. How are you, sir?
Thanks for that introduction, brother. Yeah, I'm feeling blessed and honored to share the stage with such legends as yourself and G-DLT. And, when I was first learning about Stronghold about a year ago, JennaX has a video called Stellar Down the Rabbit Hole, which really was key in my journey. So honored to share the stage and meet her. And Zach Rector has interviewed Reggie Middleton, which is a man who patented a lot of the technology we're going to be talking about today. So he's a legend in himself, and so I'm honored to be here, brother. Thank you.
No, thank you for taking the time as well. And next we have the DLT OG wizard, the Yoda of SHX, if you will. He has just accepted to be the CryptoBanker SHX Roundtable resident. So pleased as always to be able to introduce our resident speaker, G-DLT. How are you doing, brother?
CryptoBanker SHX, it's an honor. Good to be part of the roundtable here. Hell of a roundtable we got today with Jenna and Zach. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And CryptoCanvas, shout out to you, man. Thank you so much for being an awesome co-host, and I'm looking forward to these monthly SHX spaces.
Yeah, thank you for the commitment and the time as well. I really appreciate that. And so on to the introduction of our two very special roundtable guests. Firstly, our first special guest has amassed over 75,000 subscribers on YouTube. He is one of the XRP Army OGs and is one of many people's favorite crypto YouTubers. And recently, he has covered Stronghold and SHX. He's really a leader within the crypto space. I'm very pleased to be able to introduce to today's roundtable, Zach Rector. Zach, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be up here with you guys, and I'm just really excited to learn. Is really what I'm looking forward to today.
Amazing. And yeah, thank you for taking the time as well. I do really appreciate it. And so on to our second special guest for episode 2, last but by no means least. This special guest has amassed over 47,000 followers on X. They are one of my own personal favorite crypto content creators, and she has been speaking about SHX and Stronghold for a number of years now. She is also a leader within the crypto space. I'm very pleased to be able to introduce today's roundtable the legend that is JennaX. Jenna, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I thought you had to be dead to be a legend, so I'm so glad I am one and not dead. But thanks for having me up here. I'm excited. Especially excited to be up here with Zach as well because I love his content and to learn from him, and I love his perspectives. But I am just so happy you're doing these spaces because, so many people don't know about this, and just to, build a community around Stronghold and put out there what they're doing because they've been so under the radar. I think that that's great. So thank you so much for doing these spaces.
No, thank you for your time and taking the time and the commitment. And it's you, Jenna, that I'd like to kick off this roundtable actually with, because I remember, as CryptoCanvas correctly said, back in 2021, watching your Stellar Network deep dive videos on YouTube. And I remember you speaking about SHX many times even back then. So I'd really like to hear your thoughts on SHX and Stronghold. So how you discovered it, the developments that you've witnessed in the last sort of 3 to 4 years, and really what you're excited about when it comes to Stronghold and SHX.
Sure. Well, you're gonna laugh at this. Okay, do you know how I found out about Stronghold? Do you guys know the app Clubhouse? It's, one of those things we get into, and I first joined Clubhouse just to find XRP people. I'm like, there's got to be other people out there that want to talk about XRP. So, of course, I find my XRP tribe on Clubhouse, and I start to meet some fascinating people that are the Riddlers, right? So at one point, it was, I think around February or March 2021, we solved a riddle. And that's how we found out about Stronghold. Like, swear. And we're like, what? Can this be right? And then we started researching and we're like, no, this is totally SHX. So we all just bought it, right? And then in like August, it just spiked up out of nowhere. And I was like, holy shit, it's pumping. Cool. I took gains. And then I actually started to learn about it later. And I was like, I think there's something to this when you look and you see who's behind this, who all the different venture capitalists are, the advisors. There's just some really huge names, right? From Square, and we can pull all of this up, Bank Corp, all over the place. But Ripple actually got my attention. And I believe it is, oh my gosh. Xpring, that is a partnership that they had, which was actually used to bootstrap XRP adoption. But yeah, all kinds of crazy connections there. And I was like, okay, definitely something to this. I want to watch it. But then it just kind of seemed like it went to sleep, right? And you didn't hear anything about it. But nothing really changed. And actually, what turned me back onto it was I was like, let me check on this. And I saw that they were doing governance voting. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. That's in their 2023, roadmap. Here we go. They're actually doing something cool. Everybody's alive. They're kicking. Things are good. And then it just seemed like once they started the governance voting, the community really just started to grow in size. Their Discord grew, everything grew. And I still had my tokens. I actually bought more. So I bought at 3 zeros, 4, right? So I was super happy. I did take some profit after 10x, and I gotta say, like, I've been very happy, but I wished I wouldn't have. But it was one of those things where I'm like, is it gonna go back to sleep for a while? No, the ball just started rolling, and then it seemed like the XRP community really started to find out about it, which is completely awesome. And I know a lot of XRP holders also hold XLM, right? Because they're so closely related, and we know that this is built on Stellar, which is another thing that I love about it. So yeah, now I've just been trying to accumulate more on dips, and as a trader, I definitely see a lot of potential in this, but also because now we know that they're burning supply. So that makes me excited because with the governance vote, that was actually part of that. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm just really excited to see more developments as more VCs get rewarded with SHX. I know you and I, Crypto Banker, kind of talked about that because I was like, how much are they going to get in rewards? Are we going to get dumped on? How's this going to work? And then when you're kind of like, listen, if you have these VCs earning SHX with every dollar transacted through Stronghold Net, they're going to use their influence and connections to encourage their investments to also be utilizing Stronghold Net, which in turn, that's going to be using the digital currency, which is SHX. And then when you just think on a larger scale, think Uber, Airbnb, like you were saying to me, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes total sense. It's not just for institutions, it's for retail as well. But I mean, sky's the limit. And what I really think gives Stronghold a lot of potential is, for anybody who doesn't know and might be joining, I should actually back up. What is it? It's a payments processor, right? They do retail ACH payments. But here's the thing: the ACH network actually processed over 18 trillion in payments last quarter. That's a trillion, with a T. And for context, the ACH network is over 5 times larger than the Visa network. So that's a lot. So trillions of dollars are going to flow through Stronghold Net, and they'll need to have some SHX to utilize the platform. So when you go down that rabbit hole, it's like, okay, there's a use case here. I like the price point, so buying at this at the bottom, and we're going to see where it goes. Over and out.
No, and Jenna, I love how you were bringing up, like, yeah, there was just points that it seemed like Stronghold, you just didn't even know if it was a token for real. Like they just had like one separate page originally for this thing, and just trying to keep up with the developments on it, and going from like, it went to, from what it did in 2018 to, the type of lows that it eventually reached, to now like growing out this community and seeing the type of momentum that this thing is building, especially with the burn of supply. All these factors coming in is just making it look like this is undervalued, under a penny. Anytime it's under a penny for this type of project, and where it's building out, and how it's going to benefit SHX holders and SHX users, right? Or the Stronghold payment processing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It totally took a nap, and it was weird. That's why I didn't buy as big of a bag as I really wanted to. And hindsight, it's one of those things where I'm like, damn, I wish I would have dumped some of my XRP for this. But,
Right.
I married that XRP bag. What am I gonna do, right? But
Right.
now I've learned not to do that. But now once it started gaining momentum, I was like, okay, this is happening. So on the dips, I'm going to accumulate again. I wish I would have sold some, but I did. Now I'm back reaccumulating, kicking myself in the butt.
Yeah, and I think what was really encouraging with bringing back life to Stronghold was them finally, like, building out, like giving us a behind the scenes look, at least, or educational videos about Stronghold. Like there wasn't even I feel like they were really building this thing out behind the scenes before they started doing marketing with it, and now we're starting to see the bigger marketing for this project. So that's what I like. They took care of the technology and weren't trying to do like, hey, let's just try to get as many people on this, from the beginning, and just like promising a great technology. Like they know they have a great technology. They're not promising you anything. They're just educating you about it and what's going on. So it's been good seeing those type of developments that give it life, and like helps, inspire people like us here that want to build out this community and continue educating each other about SHX and Stronghold.
So, yeah, if I could add in, maybe piggyback some comments, but first question, is Stronghold Pay based in the United States? Are they a U.S. corporation or entity? Do we know?
Yeah, they're based in the United States. Their head office is in San Francisco. They do have an arm in New Zealand, which they set up back in 2018. And that was really to allow them to do certain things with DeFi, because America obviously doesn't have those regulations. So Sean Bennett, the co-founder, was saying that they went over to New Zealand. He's actually from there, and it was very easy for them, or easier for them, to meet with government officials, have those conversations, sit down with them. He said that you can make a phone call and sort of go in and see them the next day. And so that's why they set up that New Zealand arm, to allow them to, as I say, experiment with DeFi and be able to implement that. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, they are based and headquartered in San Francisco.
Yeah, because here's the thing in the United States, is we all know from the XRP community, I feel like we're almost forcing companies to build under the radar and not really blast out a full-blown marketing campaign because you don't want to draw attention and put that target on your back with Gary and the gang. And I don't need to say anything else on that, right? So I feel like that's been one of the problems. But now that I'm catching up to Stronghold, and it seems like their YouTube channel and the Twitter have been the best resources to get information directly from them. I really like some of the YouTube content that they've done here recently, like a couple interviews. And as an outsider looking in, I just want to say, my Stronghold journey started with my community commenting and telling me to look into it, and I slept on it. And I think this is part of a broader deal of folks in general sleeping on Stellar and the surrounding ecosystem around Stellar, right? XRP gets all the attention, and I've been known to sleep on Stellar. Obviously, I'm still invested. I'm not married to that bag, like Jenna said. I have traded out of that bag once and made it back during this bear market, thankfully. But I slept on Stronghold because, in general, I was sleeping on the Stellar ecosystem, which is growing out in a massive way. With Sorabon smart contracts coming to Stellar mainnet, I'm really interested to watch this utility grow out. And with just a little bit of DeFi, it can take these networks and these communities a long ways because, when you give folks the incentive, and what I like about Stronghold is they're helping companies make money. I like simple problems like that are absolutely massive. $1 trillion daily problems. That's a good one to go after because if you can just get a little piece of that action, it's pretty interesting. And Stronghold's definitely made some moves. The big one is that IBM Worldwide. I compare it to RippleNet, similar, payment network that they're creating. And the incentives are there for, their clients to use their product. But then you're also, as you said, going to be incentivizing the investors. You got this ecosystem that just voted on the governance. And so as I've gotten caught up to speed and finally threw a little bit of change at this thing, I came in late and have still been researching this project and getting caught up to speed. But if I would have listened to my community, I would have been in it with you guys. If I got tapped in when Jenna got tapped in, we would have made way more money. So huge shout out to the Stronghold community. And I think there's a lot of momentum. For me, my question for the project and for the investment thesis that we all got to ask, right? I ask this to every project, and this is what I look into for every project is who's using the token, who's using and partnered with them that actually matters. And it looks like Stronghold already has a pretty good list. And so I was kind of just hoping that we could expand maybe on who's working on the website. They have the use case there with IBM listed and a couple others, but they've recently done some YouTube videos, and I'm hoping that maybe they could get some more of those going to kind of display who they're working with, the use cases there. And then the only other question that I had on Stronghold was I was just trying to get clarity on supply and Stronghold. CryptoBanker. I know that you'd sent me some information. I appreciate for that. And so clarity on that, and who else is using the token were my main questions. But the momentum behind here and the utility that they already got cooking, and now with smart contracts for Stellar projects, AMM already flown as well. It's getting exciting over on the Stellar ecosystem, and this project has attracted me, to say the least.
I just wanted to add in on top of what Zach said, and then to add on that, but I agree with you, Zach. I like how they didn't have influencers pushing a price up and token. Everything was just quiet while they were quietly building and doing beta testing and, working on their partnerships and their tech.
Right.
They're pumping their token price wasn't the priority. But yeah, definitely if we can talk about the supply, because I do think that that's important.
Yeah, I can cover that. Actually, CryptoCanvas, you just jumped in. Go on.
Oh yeah, I was just going to touch on. We've all heard the saying, it's the quiet ones you got to look out for, and that's what I look for in this blockchain space. Who's the quiet kid at the party in the corner? Because that's usually who's going to, talk about the esoteric topics and dive deep. And so, as it relates to crypto, a lot of the best projects are the quiet ones. And although Tammy Camps, recently tweeted out a bunch of esoteric kind of motivational tweets, they're starting to make some noise. They're still quiet. And so, a lot of people ask, oh, is it too late to buy? I think we're so early, as JennaX talked about. That's trillions with a T, right? We're not talking billions, we're talking trillions, 80 trillion a year. So, it's not financial advice, right? This is crypto, super volatile, but I think we're still so early that it's almost mind blowing that something can do a 20x, 10x, and we're still so early.
Yeah, we're not in the era of utility yet. And even in this era of speculation, SHX has so much more substance in it for speculation than a lot of other cryptos. So, I mean, if we're talking speculative market, it has some legs, utility market, even bigger.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the reason why they have held back the majority of their tokens. It wouldn't make sense for them, given the use cases, the clients. They even build financial infrastructure for governments. So it doesn't make sense for them to release every single coin that they hold. And then once regulation comes into play, them having to acquire back the token. So I think that's all calculated. And with the burn mechanism now in play, I think that with that consistent reduction of max supply, we'll see, won't we, with the next governance vote, what happens with the network. But their idea, and always has been their idea, is to give the power of Stronghold Net to and SHX to the holders through the governance votes. So it will look like when it gets to a stage where the holders will vote on who holds the power to the proposals that go up for vote before actually going to a full governance vote. So that's very interesting. And once you have the DeFi piece, that will increase. Maybe there will be an additional burn mechanism introduced, because the burn mechanism just relates to the cash merchant advance fee. So as I say, we could see further votes on that. But in regards to the max supply, I think it is slightly confusing because it's quoted as around sort of 5.7 billion on most websites. There was an admin in the Discord for SHX who confirmed that the self-reporting circulating supply of around sort of 14 billion is the correct one. And so that's the one that I use. But when we're speaking about something with the potential that SHX has, the market cap, even if it is around 150 million now, that's still a very, very small market cap for the potential that it has.
100%. So that means, roughly 14% is circulating. And correct me if I'm wrong, Crypto Banker, but the release schedule for that is like kind of a slow arc from now until 2050?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So to me, that's that's not great, right? We always like to see 50%, 70% circulating supply, but when you look at the use case, you look at WorldWire, right? It's already operating in 70 countries, 47 currencies, with 1,000 unique currency trading pairs. So they're going after the big shebang. So to me, there's some risk involved. Are the VCs going to dump? I'm sure they'll take profits at a certain time, but I think they know just as well as anybody how early we are. So I don't see it as a massive risk personally.
I wonder if they had to sign contracts at all, about how much they can dump.
Yeah, 100%. I think they usually have lockup periods of years, multiple years. So a lot of this stuff's under NDA. So unfortunately, it's not public. But given they haven't dumped already after it just did a 20x, let us know that at least a lot of it's still locked up.
Well, if they talk to Ripple, they can figure out how Ripple has restructured their sales to institutional clients so that they can know that they're not investment contracts, So, yeah, that's why, I'd ask those questions, right? And that's what I like about them, is that they are based in the U.S., because that means you're going to be ran through the ringer. And there's really no hiding from the U.S. regulators, which I like, right? Adults in the room, transparency, putting their face behind it. So, that's fantastic. And I was looking at the investors in the ecosystem, the VCs. Is that I'm assuming that that's the VCs that you're talking about there, Crypto Banker, that have invested in, those are the ones that are going to get incentivized?
Yeah, that's correct. So there is a slide on the white paper which shows their venture capital partnership program and lists a small selection of the VCs that are happy to be listed on there outside of an NDA. And they will, every time they utilize, so every dollar transacted through Stronghold Net, they earn SHX rewards. So the theory behind that is that when you look into these VC firms, the likes of Kraft, for example, is a very good one. They are early investors in X, formerly known as Twitter, that we're on now. They SpaceX, Neuralink, The Boring Company, Airbnb, Uber, as well as like X1 Card, and so they are going to, one would assume that they are going to use their influence in those businesses to say, hey, use StrongholdNet, because for every dollar transacted, we will earn SHX rewards. And the other capabilities of, if we're thinking about the new financial system, and you have all of those traditional rails, but then on top you have the Web3, and you have that integration with the XRP ledger, you have the integration with ISO 222, the Fed now, the US ACH network, which, as we've previously stated, processes over $80 trillion a year. When you have all that come together, and that multi-chain, multi-blockchain capability of StrongholdNet, then that will be almost the hub that these institutions and merchants, they have just over 1 million merchants already signed up as of 2022, and another 1 million in the pipeline. So there's a potential 2 million plus merchants ready to go. And I think that given the regulations that hopefully will come into play shortly in the US, that's when you're going to see Stronghold really be pushed. At the moment, they're sort of working for and working towards those regulations because they already operate in very highly compliant areas. Over to you, Jenna.
Stronghold never did an initial coin offering, did they?
No.
That's great, right? That's one of the biggest things that gets crypto companies in trouble. They offer the pre-sale and do all of that, and I think that's a difference too between Ripple and Stronghold. And also, they are compliant with Nacha, and also I believe they have a partnership with Prime Trust. Yeah, they just followed that. But I did post up in the bird's nest up here the venture funds rewards program and some of those that are up there. So if you guys wanted to see and get a little bit more of a visual.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that in the nest. And I think, we all know the XRP army is probably the most passionate group in crypto. And Zach, you're someone I would consider definitely a leader in that community. So you already touched on that. The XRP community is starting to get aware, more about SHX. So are you seeing a lot of that continuing awareness of SHX in the XRP community?
Yeah, most people that I talk to in the XRP community believe that the Stellar ecosystem is going to be massive. Many people talk about putting equity. Some folks go as far to say that the new stock market's going to be on Stellar. And I just respond with, well, yeah, a lot of shit's going to be on Stellar, right? It's just like the XRPL. It has a DEX built into it. So you can put whatever the hell you want on it. And I think that the ledger works. So, institutions are starting to choose these ledgers, right? And with XLM, they've been a little bit ahead of the curve on some of the utilities, AMM already live, and now with smart contracts. And so that's going to be very interesting. I think that the validators on Stellar are doing a good job of phasing in the smart contracts. They're doing it in a way where they're not going to crash the network like some other blockchains that I won't name here, right? So that's what I like to see. Responsible validators. And the Stellar ecosystem, like I said, people have been sleeping on it because similar to Stronghold, I mean, Jed McCaleb is kind of just hangs out in the shadows. He doesn't really come out much. He just did an interview with Danelle Dixon. I haven't gotten around to watch it, but these guys don't come out of their crypto caves very often. And so it's always a little treat when Jed makes an appearance, right? And you don't really hear about him until they announce, like, oh yeah, this company's using our project, right? And Stellar's been doing a lot of work around the entire world, and I think for Stronghold, there's so much money flowing around on a daily basis, and the merchant services is massive. And I like that they're incentivizing their ecosystem, right? I really think that there's going to be a few main payment chains, but the additional utilities and the focus on the merchant services, and I'm sure there's some other utilities that you can use Stronghold for as well. That's what's really going to build a bigger community for them. I think that right now it seems like all eyes are kind of on Stronghold. Is there much development happening on the network outside of the main Stronghold Pay company, or I don't know if you guys can speak on that at all?
Well, in terms of development, like active development that you can find in a GitHub or anything like that, surprisingly, zero active development that is like public, right? To see coming out of Stronghold. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with post Soroban, but in the last quarter there was zero active contributors to the GitHub. But I think with Soroban and the transition for them to Soroban, they've even said they don't want to be one of the first ones jumping into Soroban right away. And it's still in a phased rollout, right? So I like that they're taking their time. And I like that they acknowledge, the facts and stuff like that. I'm excited to see what the active developer count will be, though, a year from now, maybe year or two from now, especially with Soroban, we assume is going to be one of the ascending smart contract platforms that a lot of people are going to be wanting to build on. It's the cheapest one to be building on. It has the best fees and it's consistent uptime. I think this is where we start to see those transitions to these next level smart contract platforms that we go from, the Ethereums and whatnot, the Solanas. And I think Solana still has, a lot of potential. Don't get me wrong. It's a very, ambitious project, but I think Soroban is going to start to rise. XRPL will start rising as well. And that benefits SHX in many different ways, especially with what their intention with the token is for a place where you can build DeFi products with this platform. I think it's going to, I think there's more utility to come for SHX outside of what we see right now.
100%. And Jenna, I have a question for you. So how do you kind of see the wider crypto market here in 2024 going into 2025? Do you think we're in a bull market? Do you think what's your just general outlook of the overall industry?
I said baby bull yesterday. I think okay, so I don't know. I can't make I hate making these predictions, but I do think that alts are gonna pop off a little bit. I think that we're gonna see a run, but I believe that either, and I don't know if it'll happen, nobody does, before or after the halving, I think a pullback would be healthy, for Bitcoin and the alts, and then blast off. I would love to see a nice healthy retracement before that. So it wouldn't surprise me and I wouldn't be scared, but I do take caution right now with extreme greed. But also, I'm a day trader, so I love to just look at things, and I've learned now not to get myself into too many leveraged positions at once. So I'm chilling out. So but I definitely think if not this fall, by 2025, alts are just going to absolutely rip and melt faces. And I think that this will be the most explosive bull run that we've seen yet.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're moving into real world utility, and I think everybody should go check out the Open Wallet Foundation, openwallet.foundation. Google's a member, Visa, American Express, the Federal Reserve is connected to it. But really, what they're planning to roll out very very soon are these Web3 wallets worldwide. It's going to be the killer app of blockchain, and in that you're going to own your own data, and that's going to be the home of your DeFi products that Stronghold's rolling out. Right, Tammy Camp talks about rolling out millions and millions of wallets. And I think this bull run is when we're going to see this type of stuff move into the real world. Like people are actually going to be using it. So I think there's some exciting things ahead of us.
Yeah, they're using AI as like the gateway into the mass adoption phase with cryptocurrency. Possibly with metaverse too. Like, those are the type of merchants we have to also like. It's kind of a joke now with metaverse, but in the direction of where the world could be going, or some maybe outcomes that could happen in the future, like people start spending more time online, and then they start speculating into the metaverse, and maybe merchants in the metaverse for SHX rewards as well. Who knows?
100%. I listen to a lot of these like nerdy tech forums, and something that pops up a lot is they always talk about, when the world just shut down. One of the good things about it was it really accelerated the adoption of all this type of technology, right? Everyone has to get more familiar with this stuff, and so it kind of sped up this move into the Web 3.0. Maybe by coincidence, maybe not. Who knows?
Do we think with the Stronghold USD? I think that's being kind of kept under wraps pretty well as well. Like nobody talking about it as a stable coin too much, but it has a pretty good chance for getting, maybe some favorable regulation, right? As a stable coin, if stable coin regulation is the first to come through, IBM choosing that as the first stable coin ever, right? You would think this could be a dark horse out of nowhere, people expecting USDC and maybe some others, but what if we get some good regulation for the stablecoin services that Stronghold has as well?
I agree. And that one is fully backed by Nevada-based Prime Trust, guys, if you didn't know that, for the Stronghold USD. And the difference is it doesn't sync with the dollar. Stronghold USD is the dollar. So like with Tether and the other ones, they use stability algorithms to ensure that it's always pegged to the US by like they create and they destroy, they can print, they do whatever. Now Stronghold does not do that. So it's 100% also backed by the US deposits. And it has, and I don't exactly know what this means because I'm not a developer, but built-in regulatory technology that Tether does not have, TrueUSD does not have, Basecoin does not have.
Yeah, that's all correct. And what's interesting as well is that they built an exchange for institutional and retail use back in 2018 with IBM, and they had, as of the August, 25,000 customers of August 2018, and by then April 2019 they had barred all retail investors and went exclusive to institutional use, and that's when you see the news on Stronghold USD just dry up, like it almost just disappeared overnight. So that's very interesting that they had this institutional exchange with Jed McCaleb coming out and saying that Stronghold USD is the cornerstone piece of the Stellar network for adoption. And then, as they say, a few months later, having released the SHX token as well, suddenly made that exchange institutional use only.
You know what I found interesting was in one of the videos where it was the vice president was speaking about what are ACH transactions. He actually referred to Stronghold as a bank. He mentioned them actually being a bank. So it's starting to make sense.
Yeah, and I'll add that according to Google, 16,000 banks worldwide rely on IBM technology, and there's only 40,000 banks in the world. So what is that? Probably 33% of the banks worldwide use IBM technology. Pretty bullish.
So they issued a stablecoin on the Stronghold network. Did I hear that correctly?
It was on the Stellar network.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. On the Stellar network, they issued a Stronghold USD, is what it's called. Okay. Yeah, this is the thing with the XRPL right now too, is we need more legitimate issuers to issue stable coins, currencies, and other assets that we can actually rely on. And so yeah, if Stronghold's doing that, that's very interesting. That's a unique play. I'm sure they can kind of plug that into their product and service offerings as well. That's interesting. Is there any plan? Have they even thrown out the idea of them going public, the company Stronghold Pay, or are they plan? Have they made any mention of that?
Not that I'm aware of. I've never come across anything like that. I think they're still building, really. Yeah, I don't know whether they're at that point as yet.
Yeah, they appear to me to still be, relatively speaking, like small startup vibes with some folks that have impressive resumes. I'll say, right? Tammy, and then Sean Bennett, formerly at Ripple. Ripple just being one phone call away, that's nice. The Stellar Development Foundation just being one phone call away, that's also nice. So very impressive there.
And they have that early Ripple days vibe right now with the way their marketing is. So I mean that's good for the growth potential with where they're going, and at least we're starting to get some marketing. Like there was a time with SHX where you didn't even know if it was a token, if it was really alive, and if Stronghold even really needed SHX. But yeah, with with Tammy Camp and Ripple being such a phone call away, and bringing up the stablecoin issuers, Sean Bennett was the first one to bring create a stablecoin gateway on XRPL, right? So that's what attracted, I think, IBM to Sean Bennett, and possibly the creation of Stronghold was this developer, like, don't let his baby face fool you. This guy's a savage, and building a stable coin that IBM wants to use with Stronghold as well. The first major institution that I know of that's like, especially at that time, stablecoin was almost sacrilege, or just like, whatever this idea is. In 2018, stablecoin wasn't even a household like thing to say. So it's they've been building out they seem like they're like a project that just like was created a year ago, but they've been around for like 6 years building out.
That's what impressed me the most too, that Sean did that. I was like, okay, what did he do at Ripple? Okay, let me look at this. And then to see that he was one of the first gateways, it's like, oh crap. Like, yeah, this is no joke. He was there in the early days. And so, I was very impressed at the team when I looked through that. So it kind of seems like a small, scrappy startup vibes, but going after big problems.
Yeah, and they got connections to the Interledger protocol too, right? So what they're building out with Stronghold USD could be a major contributor to the Interledger protocol and the Internet of Value of payments that they're making there with that industry standard, like that new industry game-changing protocol that is the Interledger protocol. Him doing presentations at the ILP Summit in 2019, executing Stronghold stablecoin transactions on Interledger. And, I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing. Like, even when Coil was around, right? If you remember Coil from back in the day, like that allowed Stronghold USD as a payout, right? So like you could be getting paid out in Stronghold USD through like, and I feel like Coil was just like a test bed to see like what in a small microcosm, what Interledger protocol could be like, if you were to put it at, that type of scale or even beyond that, right? So exciting.
Yeah, also a point on that as well. If you go back to a document back in 2019, there was a news article that stated that when Facebook were trying to create Libra blockchain, that Stronghold were working with them indirectly and allowing them to almost sandbox the Stellar network to build custom assets on it. So that's very interesting, and that all happened. And then obviously we know what happened with the Libra blockchain. It got blocked by the SEC. But the fact that Stronghold were involved with their developers, allowing them to utilize the Stellar blockchain and build custom assets on it, is quite interesting. Around the time that they just launched that Stronghold USD and gone fully exclusive to institutions with their exchange.
Yeah, it's almost like such a for a crypto that it has so much potential that it almost seems like it could be something that's bigger than that of or at least just as big as XRP and XLM, right? When you have the developer who was able to create legitimately the first stablecoin ever on a DEX, the first DEX ever created with the XRPL, and he gets picked out of that team, and they from there, because IBM was partnered up with Ripple. I think IBM saw that with the creation of the stablecoin, and they had a wow moment from this guy, and they probably just guided him to creating Stronghold and whatever, and pegging him with Tammy Camp, who's a freaking veteran who's been around. So it's an interesting assembly here. Like, this has been in the works for a very long time, and I feel like, yeah, it's going at the pace that they wanted it to. Like, there weren't enough people buying in, in the 000 ranges, or even when it was beginning, right? Now we have an increase in the wallets month after month, hitting records. I mean, that could be, so there could have been some major whales who just like were given the tip, like, this is the moment in time we go to this next level for SHX.
Well, what was Tammy's position at Stellar Development Foundation again?
She was the head of growth.
Yeah, she wasn't playing around either. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for any project. And like I always say, 99% of these crypto projects can't even get institutions or businesses of this caliber to pick up the phone. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see, the 2024 roadmap and beyond. Looks like they're starting to reveal a little bit more. And so, yeah, I'm going to have my eyes on this project for sure. I've already added to the AMM as well for XLM and Stronghold pairing. And that's an interesting pairing for me, just because I think they're both, move kind of obviously in tandem, but both pretty volatile, and just being able to harvest the returns from that has been nice. And yeah, I'm going to be looking further into this project. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, and it's really just the surface. When you start jumping into Liftoff Capital and Canvas and CryptoBankerSHX, especially with CryptoBankersSHX dedicated SHX channel, he just starts going so deep into all these possible outcomes and directions, and it's something that's so needed, really. And I keep saying thank you, CryptoBankerSHX, for even just the community is really going with the enthusiasm and what you've been building out here. So yeah, just really exciting seeing this community finally becoming something and growing, and identifying as something as a strongholders. It's a good time, definitely. Still very early too.
Yes, and I just posted in the comment section a link to an article that was released a few years ago about Tammy Camp. They call her Laura Croft of the web. Laura Croft from Tomb Raider. It says Tammy Camp is the youngest daughter of Edward Camp, a United States intelligence officer, and that he gifted her a computer, and at the tender age of 6, she evolved into a technological geek, spending 16 hours a day coding. So Tammy Camp is a straight up G.
Wow, that is
Yep.
hot.
Yep.
I love it.
I saw that Digital Asset Investor had shared something today about asking Grok about Jed McCaleb's parents, and something about they're both NASA scientists. So I saw folks making memes and joking about how Jed was created in a lab, and yeah, Tammy too. Yeah, that's
Dude,
that's good
Jed's
stuff.
Highlander, man. Jed is Highlander, man. He's Neo. He dodges freaking bullets, man. Whatever this guy does, he joins and leaves at the right time.
Jed the Judas.
Wait,
you cannot go wrong with Stellar.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, we have Fruition Productions in the house, so we need to make a documentary on maybe Jed McCaleb needs one, and then Stronghold's probably going to need one as well. But yeah, the Jed McCaleb documentary, if they could get access, which we know they probably couldn't.
No, I mean, the guys and what he's doing with Vast, if this doesn't make you bullish on XLM, I don't know what, and XRP, I don't know what you're, like, he's basically trying to create, envisioning an interplanetary ecosystem and, economy, basically people living outside of Earth and sending transactions across that. This is, he's going to, just like Elon, how Elon's finding ways of all of his like previous stuff to incorporate into his products. I think he's going to be building off with Stellar and finding a way to incorporate that into Vast in the future.
Didn't he make some kind of partnership with Elon or something like that? I swore I saw a Vast and SpaceX posts. So we know that Elon
Yeah,
knows about XLM. I'm telling you, Jed McCaleb runs the IT department at the Illuminati. And
right.
I'm going to take off my
Yeah.
tinfoil hat now and go back to my corner, but I'm just saying.
No, and he has. It's not like he doesn't have connections to social media, CEOs before, right? When Stellar was speculated to be acquired, or embedded into Facebook back in the day, right? When that was like a big news break for like a day. Everybody thought it was legit for like a day and a half, and then Facebook comes out and then denies it and says that isn't happening. But I like the fact that it's even rumored, and it's not like they said Stellar was a bad company or anything like that either. So maybe that's just for. And then we hear about the work with Libra, right? That we're just talking about earlier. Yeah, with X.com, it's very. I mean, they have similar looking logos, for Christ's sake, And the Saturn logo is just so important, right? It's for those Saturn worshipers out there. And Elon, him being such a space buff, it would be a perfect combo right there.
100%. And just the word stellar, right? Interstellar, and then you have ether, right? The
Right.
energy of the air. This is all esoteric. And
Stellar X.
Yeah, X. Oh, don't even get me started on the X. But yeah,
Dude,
you have. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I don't. Before you say, and that was very forward looking too with their DEX release. They released that DEX the same year X Rapid was released, and they were ahead of the game before like all these pluses and X's started really coming out for putting it at the end of your company name.
100%. Yeah, and X is the 24th letter. We're in 2024, the year of the dragon, and the 1988 magazine with the Get Ready for World Currency came out in the year of the dragon. So it's all connected. And NASA actually signed something called the Artemis Accords, which is a pact between 33 countries to basically build societies on not only the moon, but also Mars and all this stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if Stellar becomes an interplanetary DEX.
I was going to say, Jenna said Illuminati, and now my handlers are texting me saying that I got to run. I'm just kidding. But yeah, guys, I got to run. But it's been an absolute pleasure learning from you guys here today. I'll be tuning into the next one as well. Just thank you for having me. And I'll make sure to follow all you guys so that I can get that updated Stronghold content. Huge shout out to Jenna. Hopefully see you in Vegas again with the entire XRP community, and Stronghold community is welcome as well. So thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Zach. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Good seeing you.
And yeah, guys, I think that that brings us to the conclusion of the roundtable. Is there anything else that anyone wants to cover while we're here? But if not, then thank you so much for taking the time to speak and the commitment. I really appreciate it. It's been fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, CryptoBanker.
Jenna and Zach, thank
you for the opportunity to co-host with you. I really appreciate the time. It was a pleasure meeting Jenna and Zach and G-DLT. I look forward to future collaborations. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, Jenna and Zach, thank you for coming on. And CryptoBankerSH𝕏, CryptoCanvas. I'll see you guys next month. I mean, I'm interested to see where Stronghold's going to be then. I mean, it seems like we're getting some good monthly movement and developments coming out from Stronghold camp. So just can't wait to see where we are then. All right.